Your mind is a doorway. Push it daily, and it opens wider. Leave it untouched, and it stiffens into limitation. Every day, you stand at that threshold, evolve, or repeat. Intelligence isn't inherited, it's trained. It's not luck, it's choice. You build it with intention. What you feed your mind, how you direct your focus, and whether you finish what you begin. Most people drift through distraction, scrolling and reacting while their potential sleeps. But the mind doesn't grow through ease. It grows through deliberate challenge. Smart people do something different. They choose inputs that sharpen them. They cultivate habits that make their thoughts clearer, their memory stronger, and their judgment wiser. This is not talent. It's training. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. The brain reshapes itself around what you practice. Spiritually, it's alignment. Energy reorganizing itself around your standards. Every time you choose focus over noise, discipline over impulse, learning over comfort, you send a signal to your system. Keep this. Build on this. Think of your mind as both instrument and field. When you feed it chaos, it echoes confusion. When you feed it knowledge and awareness, it vibrates with coherence. Coherence feels like clarity. It moves like power. This audiobook is a manual for that power, a blueprint for daily mental evolution. You will learn how to train your mind to grow sharper, stronger, and more self-directed. One useful fact a day rewires your perception. One better question rewrites your thinking. One recalled lesson transforms information into wisdom. One hard task builds discipline. One moment of silence deepens awareness. These are not scattered ideas. They are a system. Each practice fuels the next. Reading feeds questioning. Questioning fuels reflection. Reflection strengthens focus. Focus expands growth. Small actions, repeated daily, reshape the structure of who you are. Understand this. Your intelligence is not fixed. It is sculpted by repetition and emotion. Your life will rise to the level of your mental standards. The moment you choose to train your mind with precision, reality begins to align with that choice. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary, not by chance, but by consistency. So, decide now. Feed your mind something worthy. Finish what you start, and watch your world rearrange itself around the strength of your focus. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video, it tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now, and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. Train your brain daily by learning one useful fact. Every day, your mind stands at a crossroads. You either feed it something that strengthens you, or you let it starve on distractions. That choice, simple, silent, and repeated, determines the shape of your intelligence and the direction of your life. Becoming smarter is not about talent. It's about nutrition. What you feed your mind becomes your future. The brain is an organism of patterns and growth. It is constantly rewiring, pruning weak connections, and strengthening the ones you use. Neuroplasticity proves this. Your daily thoughts and inputs sculpt the physical structure of your mind. When you deliberately learn one useful fact each day, you are not just collecting trivia. You are shaping new neural pathways, expanding your map of understanding, and increasing your power to think clearly under pressure. Knowledge is weightlifting for the brain. Each repetition counts, but there is a deeper layer. Every idea carries an energetic signature. When you learn something meaningful, something that expands perspective or reveals truth, you don't just store data. You raise your internal frequency, You vibrate at a higher level of awareness. The mind that once consumed gossip and noise begins to crave clarity and depth. This is the evolution of consciousness disguised as education. Most people, however, let the mind decay in the background hum of distraction, endless scrolling, empty talk, content that entertains but does not empower. The problem isn't ignorance, it's saturation. The more random noise you absorb, the less space you have for signal. The truly intelligent separate the two. They treat their attention like sacred currency and spend it only on what multiplies value. Start small. One useful fact per day. That's all you need. Not 100 pages, not a new degree, just one real, applicable piece of knowledge. Something that improves how you live, work, or understand the world. It could be a statistic that shifts perspective, a principle that strengthens health, a truth about human behavior that improves relationships. One fact per day means 365 powerful building blocks in a year. The compound interest of learning is unstoppable. What matters is not quantity, but quality of integration. When you learn one fact, let it land. Write it down in your own words. Reflect on it. See where it applies. Application locks it into memory. Without reflection, knowledge evaporates. With reflection, it becomes architecture. The mind loves clarity. It remembers what you use and forgets what you ignore. There's a scientific reason for this. Retrieval strengthens retention. Each time you recall and use a fact, you strengthen the neural circuits that hold it. Emotion enhances this effect. When something truly resonates, when you feel it, the limbic system tags it as important, ensuring it stays accessible. That's why learning that connects with your values lasts longer. The heart amplifies the brain. Imagine this as a practice of self-respect. Feeding your mind valuable knowledge daily is an act of reverence toward your own potential. You're saying, I matter enough to grow. The more you do this, the more your internal dialogue shifts. You stop underestimating yourself because you have proof, daily evidence, that you are becoming more capable. Confidence becomes a side effect of consistency. From a cosmic perspective, every new insight is a thread that connects you closer to the intelligence of the universe. You are not a separate thinker floating in isolation. You are a node in a vast web of awareness. Each truth you absorb fine-tunes your signal with the collective field. When your frequency rises, you start noticing opportunities, patterns, and solutions that were invisible before. Intelligence is not just cognitive, it's vibrational alignment with reality's deeper order. So how do you practice this in real life? Design a system. Keep a notebook labeled Daily Growth. Each night, write one fact you learned that day. Describe it in a single paragraph, then one sentence, then one word. This trains the mind to distill meaning and reinforces recall. Review these notes weekly. Over time, you'll notice themes, areas of curiosity that define your evolution. That awareness gives direction to your growth instead of letting it drift randomly. Guard what you consume. Before reading, watching, or listening, ask, will this expand me or numb me? Choose expansion. Feed your mind with what strengthens your focus, deepens your understanding, and uplifts your energy. Because whatever you consume becomes the raw material your brain uses to build thoughts. Garbage in, confusion out. Greatness in, clarity out. You will know the habit is working when conversation feels richer, decisions feel cleaner, and self-doubt begins to fade. You'll sense it when others start to ask for your perspective, when your thoughts carry weight instead of echoing noise. That's what happens when you become deliberate with learning. You stop talking to impress and start speaking from truth. Remember, learning is not for competition. It's for alignment. With your purpose, with your potential, with the higher intelligence that animates all life. Each day, choose one fact that brings you closer to that alignment. Feed your brain. Expand your field. Repeat. Because every time you learn something that matters, you become someone who matters more. To yourself, to others, to the world. Train your brain daily. Respect it like you would your body or your spirit. What you learn today becomes the foundation for how you think tomorrow. Start small, stay consistent, and let your growth become inevitable. That's how you build intelligence not as theory, but as identity. Chapter 2. Sharpen your thinking by asking better questions. Every mind is shaped by the questions it dares to ask. Weak questions keep you asleep. Strong questions wake you up. They cut through confusion, strip away excuses, and demand clarity. The quality of your thinking is not measured by how much you know, but by how deeply you question what you know. Every thought begins as a question, whether you notice it or not. Why am I like this? What should I do next? What does this mean? These questions guide your attention, and attention guides your destiny. Most people never upgrade the questions running in their mental background. They ask the same ones every day and wonder why their lives repeat. The first shift is awareness. Notice what you ask yourself when things go wrong. Do you say, "Why is this happening to me?" Or, "What can I learn from this?" The first question makes you a victim. The second makes you an alchemist. Science calls this cognitive reframing, the ability to reinterpret events in ways that produce new meaning and new choices. Spiritually, it is the art of transmutation, turning the energy of confusion into clarity, of pain into progress. Your brain is a search engine. It does not judge your questions. It simply searches for answers. Ask a low-quality question, and you get low-quality results. Why am I so unlucky? Your mind will deliver a list of reasons that confirm it. Ask an empowering one. What can I do today to change my direction? And your brain begins scanning the horizon for action. The question determines the path. Smart people use this truth deliberately. They build the habit of asking questions that elevate their perception. Each morning, they might ask, "What would make today meaningful? What am I avoiding that would move me forward? What one thing, if I improved it, would change everything else?" Questions like these sharpen awareness and focus attention on solutions rather than noise. Neuroscience supports this. When you pose a question, your reticular activating system, the part of the brain that filters information, activates and starts noticing whatever relates to that question. It's why when you buy a new car, you suddenly see that model everywhere. Your question is the filter. Spiritually, this is alignment in motion. Energy flows where focus goes. To sharpen your thinking, you must learn to ask both broad and precise questions. Broad ones expand imagination. What if I could design life from zero? Precise ones create clarity. What single habit drains most of my energy? Together, they stretch your mind across possibility and practicality. One without the other leaves you either lost in theory or stuck in routine. Practice this consciously. When you read, don't just absorb, interrogate. Ask, how does this apply to my life? What hidden assumption is being made here? What can I test today? When you face difficulty, replace emotional reaction with inquiry. What is this moment teaching me about my patterns? When you speak with others, ask questions that open them, not close them. What inspired you to do that? What was the turning point? What have you learned that you wish others knew? The more you practice, the more you'll notice a shift. Conversations deepen, insight multiplies. You stop reacting impulsively because every situation becomes an opportunity to extract meaning. You stop needing to control everything because questions allow reality to reveal itself in layers. The mind moves from panic to perspective. This is how intelligence evolves, not by stacking facts, but by refining inquiry. The greatest minds in history, Socrates, Einstein, Tesla, all mastered questions before answers. Einstein once said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the question." Why? Because a precise question compresses chaos into clarity. The spiritual dimension of this practice is humility. To ask deeply is to admit you don't already know. That openness creates space for higher intelligence to move through you. The universe responds to sincerity. When you ask with genuine curiosity rather than ego, answers arrive not as noise, but as resonance. You recognize them instantly because they carry truth's frequency, calm, clean, and certain. Questions are also keys to awareness. Every time you ask why, how, or what if, you unlock another layer of understanding about yourself. Why do I always delay what matters? How do I behave when I'm afraid? What if I stopped identifying with my limitations? These questions don't just give you answers. They transform identity. They shift you from passenger to pilot of your consciousness. To make this habit real, design a question ritual. Each morning, write down 3 powerful questions to guide your day. They can focus on clarity. What deserves my attention today? Learning. What will I understand by nightfall? Or growth. What challenge can strengthen me today? Each evening, answer them honestly. Then add one reflection. What question did I forget to ask that could have changed my perspective? This nightly awareness sharpens the edge of thought. Consistency turns questioning into instinct. Over time, you will find yourself pausing naturally before reacting, asking internally, "What's the highest response I can choose now?" That pause, that breath of curiosity, separates the average from the extraordinary. And remember, every question is a vibration you send into the field of consciousness. Ask small, and life shrinks to fit. Ask vast, and the universe rearranges itself to answer. So begin now. Retire the questions that keep you trapped. Replace them with those that lift you higher. When your questions evolve, your life follows, because the mind expands only as far as its questions allow. Ask boldly, ask wisely, ask daily. That is how you sharpen your thinking and how you awaken your intelligence to its next level. Chapter 3. Strengthen your memory by recalling what you learn. Knowledge is useless if it evaporates. You can read hundreds of pages, watch endless lectures, and listen to hours of wisdom. But if you forget it all within days, nothing changes. Intelligence is not measured by what you consume. It's measured by what you can recall and apply when it matters. The smartest people in the world are not those who know everything, but those who remember what is worth knowing. Memory is not a gift. It is a muscle. It strengthens through deliberate use. Every time you recall a fact, a principle, or a lesson, you are firing the same neural pathways that first recorded it. That repetition deepens the groove until knowledge becomes instinct. This is not theory. It's neuroscience. When you retrieve information without looking at your notes, your brain interprets it as important and begins to store it in long-term memory. This is called the retrieval effect, and it's one of the most powerful cognitive tools you can use. But recall, is more than biology. It is spiritual integration. When you remember what you've learned, you are not merely repeating words. You are merging wisdom with identity. You are proving to the universe that you value the knowledge it gave you, and what you value expands. Forgetfulness is not just mental weakness. It is energetic leakage. To remember deeply is to anchor truth into your consciousness, so it can guide your decisions. Most people live in intellectual amnesia. They consume without digestion. They rush from one piece of information to the next, believing motion equals growth. But mental clutter is not wisdom. It is noise wearing a scholar's mask. The mind does not evolve through excess. It evolves through integration. What you integrate becomes you. What you neglect disappears. The simplest way to practice integration is to recall daily. At the end of each day, close your book, your laptop, your phone. Ask yourself, what did I truly learn today? Not what you read, not what you heard, but what actually imprinted. Then speak it out loud or write it down. When you articulate knowledge, you transform abstract thought into tangible structure. Each sentence is a signal to the brain. Keep this. It matters. You can enhance this process by emotionalizing your recall. The limbic system, which governs memory, prioritizes what you feel. Attach meaning to the fact. Ask, why does this matter to my life? How can this change the way I think or act? The moment a lesson becomes personal, it roots itself into your subconscious. That is why the wisdom that changes us most is the wisdom that moves us emotionally. There's also power in spaced recall. Review what you learned not just once, but repeatedly, after one day, 1 week, 1 month. Each recall strengthens the neural thread. Scientists call this spacing effect. But on a deeper level, it's the same principle mystics have taught for centuries. Repetition creates resonance. Each time you revisit truth, it vibrates deeper into your being until it becomes part of your natural frequency. Create your own ritual. Keep a wisdom log. Each day, record the single most valuable insight you gained and one sentence explaining how you used it. Once a week, review your entries. You'll begin to see patterns, themes of curiosity, lessons that repeat until mastered. These patterns are not random. They are messages from your higher self, showing you where evolution is asking for attention. Remembering what you learn also cultivates self-respect. Each recalled idea is evidence that your mind is alive, disciplined, and trustworthy. When you speak, you'll notice your words carrying precision instead of noise. When someone asks a question, you'll find the answer rising naturally because you've trained your memory to respond. That self-trust becomes quiet confidence, an energy people can feel even before you speak. And there's a deeper effect. Recall transforms experience into wisdom. The universe keeps giving you lessons, but if you don't pause to remember them, you repeat them. Life will echo its teaching until you integrate it. Reflection closes the loop. When you recall a mistake, not with shame, but with curiosity, you extract its gold. You evolve faster because you no longer need pain to teach what reflection can. From a cosmic view, memory is the continuity of consciousness. It's how the universe learns through you. Every remembered truth expands, not just your mind, but the collective intelligence of humanity. You are not a vessel that holds knowledge. You are a conduit that circulates it. The more you recall, the more wisdom flows through you, and the more effortlessly you become a transmitter of clarity to others. So practice daily recall as both science and ritual. Speak what you've learned. Write it. Review it. Feel it. Live it. Because memory is not about clinging to the past. It's about carrying wisdom forward. Each time you remember, you refine the signal of your mind, making it more focused, more aligned, more powerful. One day you'll notice it. Conversations feel effortless. Ideas connect themselves. Intuition speaks louder. That's not luck. That's a well-trained memory serving a higher consciousness. To know is potential. To recall is power. To apply is wisdom. Strengthen your memory daily, and you will never lose what truly matters. Chapter 4. Build focus by finishing one hard task. Daily focus is not a talent. It's a muscle, one that grows only through resistance. In a world that rewards distraction, the ability to concentrate deeply on one meaningful task is a superpower. Most people scatter their energy across dozens of trivial actions and then wonder why they feel drained, yet unfulfilled. The truth is simple. You don't rise by doing more. You rise by finishing what matters. Every unfinished task is a small fracture in your energy field. It whispers, "I'll do it later." And those whispers pile up until your mind becomes a cluttered room, filled with open doors and no direction. Focus begins the moment you choose to close one of those doors, to take one hard task and complete it fully. Not halfway, not good enough. Finished. The psychology behind this is powerful. Each time you complete something challenging, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical that reinforces behavior. But it's not the starting that brings the deepest satisfaction. It's the finishing. The moment you complete a difficult task, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, disciplined, capable. That proof builds a self-trust that no one can take away. The scientific layer is clear. Focus strengthens through repetition. When you resist the urge to multitask and hold your attention on a single goal until completion, you are training your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, persistence, and willpower. Every time you stretch that muscle, it adapts. Focus endurance grows, just like physical endurance. Spiritual traditions have said this for centuries. Where attention goes, energy flows. Science now proves it. The spiritual layer is deeper still. When you finish a hard task, you are not just organizing your day, you are aligning your frequency. Incomplete actions leak energy. Completion seals it. It's how your mind tells the universe, "I honor my commitments." And the universe responds in kind. Clarity and opportunity flow to those whose actions are coherent with their intentions. So choose one hard thing every day. Just one. The difficulty is the point. It's the friction that sharpens your focus. It might be writing the paragraph you've been avoiding, confronting a problem you've been postponing, studying a subject that demands full attention, or completing a workout that challenges your limits. Whatever it is, finish it. When you wake up tomorrow, do it again. At first, you'll feel resistance. That's normal. The brain's survival instinct prefers comfort. It wants to conserve energy, to stay safe in routine. But your higher mind, the part that seeks growth, knows that discomfort is the price of expansion. Each time you finish despite resistance, you weaken the hold of inertia and strengthen the circuit of discipline. From a neurological view, this process rewires your brain's reward system. You begin to crave progress more than pleasure, depth more than distraction. You stop needing external motivation because completion itself becomes addictive. Spiritually, this is alchemy in motion, transmuting laziness into momentum, chaos into clarity. Finishing hard tasks also clears mental space. Think of it as cleaning energetic clutter. When you complete what you've been avoiding, you reclaim the energy that procrastination has been draining. You feel lighter, sharper, calmer. That calm is not laziness. It's power at rest, ready to move when you command it. Here's a simple daily practice. Each morning, write down one task that, if finished, would make you proud to end the day. Just one. Label it your anchor. Block 90 minutes of uninterrupted time for it. Silence notifications, close tabs, leave your phone in another room. When you start, commit to no exits, no checking messages, no switching to easier work. Stay until it's done. Afterward, pause. Feel the internal shift. That sense of order, strength, and peace is your mind calibrating to completion. The brain learns quickly. Associate that feeling with the act of finishing, and soon you'll crave it every day. Over time, this habit does something extraordinary. It builds an identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. That identity radiates confidence. It changes how you approach everything, from small chores to long-term goals, because the way you do one thing becomes the way you do all things. And there's a cosmic truth beneath it. When you finish what you start, you teach life to trust you. The universe favors momentum. It gives more to the minds that make use of what they already have. A single completed task each day, done with full attention and integrity, sends a clear message to reality. I am ready for more. And reality listens. Focus is not built through force. It's built through fidelity. Fidelity to your word, your work, your purpose. Every act of completion reaffirms that you are the master of your mind, not its servant. The world is full of starters. Be a finisher. Let the discipline of completion carve your attention into steel. Finish one hard task today. Do it again tomorrow. Let the repetition become rhythm, and the rhythm become identity. When you master completion, you master focus. And when you master focus, everything else, clarity, confidence, peace, follows naturally. Finish to strengthen. Finish to align. Finish to evolve. Because every time you finish, you become more whole. Chapter 5. Grow your knowledge through deep, attentive reading. Reading is not about turning pages, it's about transformation. You can skim 100 books and remain the same, or you can read one page with full attention and become someone new. The difference is not in the amount of information you consume, but in the depth of consciousness you bring to it. The way you read reflects the way you live, scattered or present, restless or rooted. The modern world has trained the mind to dart like a cursor across endless screens. We scroll, swipe, skip, half listen, half think. But intelligence does not thrive in fragments. It thrives in focus. When you sit down to read with undivided attention, you are retraining your brain to do what it was designed to do: connect, comprehend, and create meaning. This is mental weightlifting at its purest form. Scientific research on attention shows that focused reading activates networks across the brain's language, imagination, and decision centers simultaneously. It builds neural bridges between memory and creativity. But on a spiritual level, something deeper happens. When you read with full presence, you synchronize your consciousness with that of the writer. You're not just decoding symbols, you're entering the current of another mind. The page becomes a portal. This is why reading with intention feels sacred. You are communing with ideas that have survived time. You are allowing the wisdom of others to mingle with your own intuition, forming something entirely new. The book becomes a mirror, reflecting the parts of you that are ready to awaken. Every paragraph you meet with awareness is an invitation from life to expand. To grow through reading, you must slow down enough to see what you're reading. Many people move their eyes across words, but their thoughts are elsewhere. That's not reading. It's mental noise wearing disguise. True reading is meditation. Each sentence deserves the same quality of attention you would give to your breath during stillness. It is not passive absorption, but active dialogue. Ask questions as you read. What truth is being revealed here? Why does this idea move me? How can this apply to my life today? The moment you begin questioning, the material stops being external. It becomes alive within you. The act of questioning transforms knowledge from static text into kinetic thought, knowledge that breathes, acts, and remembers. Practical technique. Before you begin reading, take one full breath, exhale slowly, and set an intention. May this reading sharpen my mind and align my spirit. That single line grounds your focus. Then read until you feel resonance. When a sentence strikes you, pause. Let it echo. Highlight it, write it, or speak it softly. That pause is the point of transformation. The instant information begins turning into wisdom. Another key: choose material that matters. The brain has limited capacity for attention, so treat it as sacred ground. Don't feed it junk. Select books and essays that challenge your thinking, expand your worldview, and refine your values. The goal isn't to agree with everything you read, it's to sharpen your discernment. Even disagreement strengthens understanding when approached with curiosity instead of defense. Environment matters too. Reading cannot coexist with constant interruption. Find silence or create it. Turn off notifications. Clear your space. Make reading a ritual. Light a candle if you wish. Let the act feel intentional. The brain thrives on cues. When you associate reading with peace, it learns to enter focus faster each time. Science calls the state of total absorption flow. Spirit calls it presence. Both describe the same phenomenon. When the reader disappears and only the words remain, time dissolves. You are no longer reading. You are remembering. Because deep down, every truth that touches you is something your soul already knows. The long-term effect of daily reading with attention is exponential. 10 minutes of deep reading beats an hour of distracted skimming. Consistency compounds comprehension. In a year, your mind will hold frameworks most people never develop because you didn't just collect facts. You connected them. Knowledge becomes architecture, not rubble. Reading this way also refines your speech. You'll find yourself expressing ideas with more precision and calm. You'll listen more actively, because deep reading teaches deep listening. You'll start thinking in paragraphs instead of fragments. That's not pretension. It's the quiet power of a well-ordered mind. There is an emotional benefit as well. Deep reading heals the scattered nervous system. When your focus narrows into stillness, your breathing slows, your stress decreases, your thoughts align. You begin to feel what ancient teachers called inner coherence, the peaceful hum of a mind and heart, moving in unison. Reading, when done with presence, becomes both study and sanctuary. Finally, remember that every book you read attentively becomes a living companion in your consciousness. Its voice joins your inner dialogue. Its lessons become silent advisors, guiding you when you least expect it. That is why true learning feels eternal. It doesn't end when the page does. So, make this your daily ritual. Read something that matters. Read it slowly. Read it as if it contains a message written just for you, because it does. Every line you meet with attention adds a new dimension to your awareness. Read not to escape reality, but to expand it. Read not to appear wise, but to become wise. Read until the words dissolve and only understanding remains. That is how you grow your knowledge, not by hoarding information, but by merging with it. One page, one lesson, one moment of full presence at a time. Chapter 6. Improve your decisions by analyzing past choices. Every decision is a seed. Some grow into strength, others into struggle, but all carry lessons. The intelligent person is not one who never makes mistakes, but one who refuses to repeat the same mistake twice. Growth is not found in avoiding wrong turns. It's found in studying them. If you want to make wiser decisions tomorrow, you must first learn how to learn from yesterday. Most people don't. They rush forward, avoiding the discomfort of reflection. They say, "It's in the past," and close the door before understanding what the past came to teach. But what we avoid always returns, disguised as coincidence, circumstance, or bad luck. Life will replay its lessons until you integrate them. Reflection is the shortcut through repetition. From a psychological standpoint, analyzing past choices develops metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. It's how you upgrade the software of your mind. When you review your actions without judgment, you begin to see patterns. What triggers you? What motivates you? What clouds your judgment? What clears it? Awareness of these internal mechanics makes future decision-making faster and sharper, because you start anticipating your own tendencies instead of being ruled by them. From a spiritual perspective, reflection is the process of transforming karma into wisdom. Every experience, good or bad, carries a charge. When you examine it consciously, you release the emotional residue and extract the knowledge. Without that reflection, the same energy loops again. This is not punishment, it's education. The universe keeps handing you the same test until you pass it with awareness. To practice this, start small. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. What decision did I make today that moved me forward? What decision pulled me backward? What truth about myself did those choices reveal? Write the answers honestly, without self-criticism. The goal is clarity, not guilt. Judgment freezes growth. Curiosity fuels it. Each answer becomes a mirror, showing you the difference between instinct and wisdom, between reaction and intention. Let's look at the science again. The brain uses a system called prediction error to learn. When the outcome of an action doesn't match your expectation, neurons fire, signaling the need to update your model of reality. In simpler terms, mistakes are data. If you ignore them, your model stays outdated. If you study them, you become more accurate at predicting and navigating life. This is how intelligence evolves, through feedback. The spiritual parallel is clear. Awareness purifies experience. When you observe your choices, you extract essence from emotion. That essence becomes intuition, the distilled memory of wisdom. Intuition is not guessing. It's remembered learning, rising from the subconscious at the right time. Reflection is how you feed it. Most people avoid reflection because it stirs discomfort. But discomfort is the friction that polishes understanding. Sit with it. When you recall a poor choice, breathe through the shame and keep asking, "What can this teach me?" That simple question transforms pain into purpose. Regret, when used properly, becomes rocket fuel for evolution. You'll also begin to see patterns of timing. You may realize that you decide poorly when you're tired, emotional, or rushing. You may notice how fear of loss distorts your logic, or how people-pleasing clouds your clarity. Each discovery adds precision to your next move. Wisdom is not luck, It's self-awareness applied. To make this habit tangible, keep a decision journal. Divide each page into 4 sections. The decision, what you did or chose. The reason, why you did it. Emotion, logic, impulse. The outcome, what actually happened. The lesson, what you'll do differently next time. Review this journal weekly. Patterns will emerge. Your personal decision blueprint. You'll start recognizing the early signs of choices that drain you versus those that empower you. Over time, you'll trust yourself more, not because you're perfect, but because you've trained yourself to learn faster than you fail. Analyzing past choices also restores personal power. When you study your own actions, you stop blaming others or fate. You begin to see that every moment held options you didn't notice then. That realization doesn't bring regret, it brings responsibility. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. Once you know your choices create your reality, you no longer wait for rescue. You adjust course and reclaim authorship. The energy principle is this: awareness rewrites vibration. When you understand the pattern behind your decisions, you change the frequency that created them. You no longer attract chaos because you've learned what chaos was teaching you. Your external world becomes calmer because your inner world is organized. There's a quiet confidence that comes from reflection. The next time life presents a decision, you'll sense a deeper pause, a moment of still clarity before choosing. That pause is not hesitation, it's evolution. It's the mind that has learned to listen before it leaps. Remember, wisdom compounds. Each analyzed choice refines perception, and refined perception leads to better choices. The more honest you are with your history, the cleaner your future becomes. In time, your decision-making feels almost effortless, not because life got easier, but because you became aligned. So tonight, before the day closes, look back once, not to dwell, but to understand. Review your steps, forgive your past self, thank them for surviving the lesson, and promise to use what they learned. That promise turns memory into mastery. Reflection is not looking backward, it's building forward with awareness. The one who studies their path walks faster, lighter, and wiser. Analyze, integrate, advance. Chapter 7. Expand your awareness by observing people carefully. The world is a living classroom, and every person you meet is a mirror reflecting something about yourself. But most people walk through life half awake, eyes open, awareness closed. They listen only to reply, look only to judge, and move too fast to see the subtle patterns constantly unfolding around them. Intelligence, however, expands through observation. The more closely you watch human behavior, without bias, without hurry, the clearer the invisible laws of life become. Observation is not gossip, it's education. The way someone reacts under stress, the way they speak when they're angry, how they treat people who can't help them. All of these are lessons in character, discipline, and awareness. When you train yourself to watch instead of assume, you begin to see truth beneath words. You realize that everyone is revealing who they are at all times, through tone, posture, choices, and energy. Science calls this social cognition, the brain's ability to decode the motives and emotions of others. It's what allows empathy and cooperation. But there's another dimension science rarely touches, the spiritual one. Every interaction is an exchange of frequency. You are not just hearing words, you are feeling vibration. If you stay present, you can sense honesty, insecurity, joy, fear, long before they're spoken. Awareness expands when you learn to read both language and energy. Observation sharpens intuition. Most people think intuition is mystical guesswork, but it's really pattern recognition, accelerated by awareness. When you watch enough behaviors, your subconscious begins connecting dots faster than logic can explain. You just know, because you've been paying attention. A truly intelligent person trusts that knowing while still verifying it with reason. To develop this skill, slow down. Make it your practice to see people, not just look at them. In a meeting, notice who dominates the conversation and who stays silent. In a group, notice who lifts energy and who drains it. In a cafe, observe body language, how people lean in when inspired or pull back when bored. Each moment contains lessons in connection, leadership, patience, and self-awareness. But observation without reflection becomes judgment. Your goal is not to categorize people. It's to understand them, and through them, understand yourself. Every trait that triggers you points to something unhealed within you. The arrogance that bothers you may reveal your own buried pride. The indecision you mock may reflect your hidden fear of responsibility. Life uses other people as mirrors, so you can see the parts of yourself you overlook. This awareness transforms relationships. When you start observing consciously, you begin to respond instead of react. Instead of being offended, you become curious. Instead of projecting, you perceive. You start to understand that everyone operates from their own level of consciousness, shaped by pain, desire, and belief. Compassion grows not because you excuse behavior, but because you see it clearly. And seeing is freeing. To practice, choose one person each day to observe carefully. It could be a coworker, a friend, even a stranger. Watch their rhythm. Listen between their words. Ask yourself, what does this person's energy teach me about patience, confidence, fear, or authenticity? Then, write one short reflection. Today, I learned that. This daily micro-study builds emotional intelligence faster than any textbook ever could. There's science behind this too. When you observe others with empathy, your brain's mirror neurons activate, the same regions that light up when you perform the action. This biological design literally allows you to feel into others. It's how humanity evolved cooperation. But spiritually, mirror neurons are metaphors for oneness, the reminder that there is no separation between observer and observed. What you notice in others, you strengthen in yourself. Observation also protects you. When you cultivate awareness, you start seeing red flags early, whether in relationships, business, or environments. You notice inconsistencies between words and actions. You pick up on hesitation, avoidance, or hidden motives. Awareness is armor that prevents unnecessary suffering. But it must be balanced with openness. The goal is discernment, not paranoia. Equally important, learn to observe yourself as you observe others. Watch your own tone, posture, and reactions. Catch yourself mid-habit and ask, what pattern am I repeating? This level of self-observation turns the light inward and begins the real work. Mastery of the self. You can't change what you can't see. Over time, observation becomes second nature. You'll find yourself reading energy in rooms the way others read headlines. You'll understand silence as clearly as speech. You'll anticipate tension before it surfaces and calm it with presence. People will wonder how you always know. It's not magic. It's attention refined into insight. And there's a universal truth here. When you expand awareness, you expand influence. The more you see, the more you can shape. Leaders, healers, creators, all are masters of perception. They observe life so deeply that they can respond from wisdom instead of impulse. You can develop that same clarity. So begin now. Today, watch carefully. Listen fully. Let no moment pass unnoticed. Every person you meet is a book in motion, and every interaction a paragraph of wisdom waiting to be read. When you practice this daily, you stop living reactively and start living consciously. Observation is the bridge between knowledge and understanding. Awareness is the birthplace of wisdom, and the one who learns to truly see transcends the illusion of separation. Expand your awareness by observing people carefully, and you will begin to see not just them, but life itself with divine precision. Chapter 8. Develop creativity by writing down new ideas. Every human being is born creative. Creativity is not a privilege of artists. It is the natural function of a healthy, awake mind. To create is to participate in evolution. Yet most people treat their ideas like passing weather. They appear, drift, and disappear without record. What separates the brilliant from the average is not imagination, it's capture. Genius begins the moment you start writing your ideas down. Your brain is an instrument of association. It constantly combines fragments of memory, emotion, and observation into new patterns. These flashes of insight often appear at unexpected times, while walking, showering, or just before sleep. That's because creativity lives in the default mode network, the brain's relaxed, daydreaming state. But if you don't record those sparks immediately, they fade. The same circuitry that generates ideas also erases them quickly to make room for new input. Writing is how you anchor lightning before it disappears. Start with a simple rule. Never trust memory with your ideas. Carry a notebook, use a notes app, record a voice memo, anything that captures thought in the moment. Every time you write down a new idea, you send a signal to your subconscious. I am listening. The mind responds by giving you more. Neglect ideas, and inspiration dries up. Respect them, and they multiply. This is not superstition. It's how the creative brain self-trains. Psychologically, the act of documenting thoughts activates your hippocampus, the memory center, and reinforces neural links between imagination and execution. Spiritually, it's an act of partnership with the universe. Ideas are not accidents, they are invitations. When you catch them and act, you honor the intelligence that sent them. Set aside time each day for idea collection. Not judgment, not editing, just gathering. The goal is quantity, not quality. Write 10 new ideas a day. They can be small, strange, impossible. It doesn't matter. What matters is momentum. The point is to train your brain to stay in creative motion. Over time, you'll notice that the first few ideas are predictable, but by the fifth or sixth, the mind begins to stretch. That stretch is where real creativity begins. Your list might include a product that solves a problem you faced today, a question no one seems to be asking, a story from a conversation that could teach a universal truth, a new system to save time, money, or energy, a wild connection between two unrelated fields. Most of these ideas will go nowhere, and that's fine. The process, not the outcome, builds creative fitness. Think of it like mental weightlifting. You're training your associative muscles. Out of hundreds of sketches, one will glow with energy. That's the one you refine. But you can't reach the glowing idea without first passing through the rough ones. There's a pattern among all creative geniuses. They write obsessively. Leonardo da Vinci filled thousands of pages with thoughts, sketches, half-finished notes. Einstein carried a small notebook for sudden insights. Even modern innovators keep idea logs, not because every note is profound, but because consistency builds a bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind. The bridge is where innovation walks across. Spiritually, writing ideas is a sacred act of co-creation. Each thought is a whisper from the greater field of intelligence, the same force that writes galaxies and waves. When you document ideas, you acknowledge that you are part of that creative flow. You move from being a passive receiver of inspiration to an active collaborator with it. The universe favors the one who responds. To deepen this practice, build a ritual around it. Choose a specific time, morning before the world intrudes, or evening when thoughts settle. Sit with a quiet mind, breathe, and ask, what new ideas wish to come through me today? Then write without filtering. Don't judge, don't pause to evaluate. Let the words flow freely, even if they make no sense yet. Creativity begins as chaos. Order comes later. Once a week, review your ideas. Highlight 3 that excite you. Ask, which one feels alive? Then take a small step to test it. Sketch, research, or discuss it with someone you trust. Turning idea into action teaches your brain that creativity leads to movement, not just imagination. That link keeps inspiration alive. Remember, creative energy decays when hoarded. Ideas want motion. If you hold them too tightly, they fade. If you share, act, or even speak them aloud, they expand. So let them breathe. Talk about them, collaborate, express them through writing, art, or work. Each expression becomes an open channel for more. And never underestimate bad ideas. Often the ridiculous thought today becomes the revolutionary concept tomorrow. Every breakthrough was once absurd. Treat each idea with respect, even the wild ones. The act of honoring them trains your subconscious to trust you with bigger revelations. Writing ideas daily also refines identity. You start to see yourself not just as someone who consumes content, but as someone who creates it. That subtle shift in self-perception changes everything. You begin thinking in solutions instead of complaints, possibilities instead of problems. The world stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you can shape. Creativity, at its core, is awareness turned into form. When you capture your thoughts, you are turning invisible insight into visible reality. You are translating vibration into structure. This is the highest expression of intelligence, to take what is unseen and make it exist. So from this day forward, carry a notebook, or let your phone become your vault of ideas. Catch them like fireflies. Write 10 every day, no matter how small. Some will illuminate your next chapter. Others will simply teach your brain to stay alive. Either way, you win. Because every time you write down a new idea, you tell the universe, I am ready for more. And the universe always listens. Chapter 9. Raise your intelligence through deep concentration. Your mind is not weak, it is scattered. What most people call lack of intelligence is often just divided attention. In an age of endless stimulation, the ability to concentrate deeply on one thing until completion is rarer than genius itself. But it's also the skill that amplifies every other ability you have. Deep concentration is not just focus. It is a form of inner power. When you master it, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. Concentration is the opposite of chaos. It's the mind gathering itself into a single point, like sunlight through a magnifying glass. That focus burns through confusion, doubt, and distraction. Every great creation, every invention, book, or breakthrough was born from a mind that knew how to stay still long enough for truth to emerge. Scientifically, deep concentration engages the prefrontal cortex and synchronizes multiple regions of the brain into a state of coherence. Your neural oscillations, tiny electrical patterns, align in rhythm. That's why intense focus feels peaceful. Your brain stops scattering energy and starts resonating as one instrument. In this state, time fades, effort dissolves, and insight flows naturally. Psychologists call it flow. Monks call it presence. Both point to the same phenomenon, unity between mind and task. Spiritually, deep concentration is meditation in motion. When your attention fuses completely with what you're doing, the illusion of separation fades. You no longer do the task. The task does itself through you. The thinker dissolves, and only the thought remains. This is the highest form of intelligence, when awareness and action are one. But reaching this state requires discipline. The modern brain is trained for fragmentation. Notifications, multitasking, constant input, all rewire your attention span to expect interruption. To reverse that, you must retrain your focus the way an athlete retrains muscle memory, through repetition and friction. Start with the principle of single tasking. Choose one activity, no matter how small, and give it full attention from start to finish. No switching tabs, no glancing at messages, no mental drifting. When the urge to escape appears, and it will, notice it, breathe through it, and return to the task. Every return strengthens the muscle. Over time, you'll find that focus becomes your default setting instead of your struggle. Set aside dedicated blocks for deep work. 90 minutes is ideal. During that time, silence every external distraction. Create an environment that supports presence. Clean desk, dim light, maybe background sound that anchors rhythm, like rainfall or white noise. Let the world shrink to a single point of attention. This ritual signals to your brain. Now, we enter flow. At first, your mind will rebel. It will wander, fidget, and protest. That's not failure. It's detox. You are weaning yourself off the addiction to noise. Stay with it. The silence that once felt uncomfortable will soon feel like freedom. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of clarity waiting to surface. There's a reason ancient wisdom equates stillness with intelligence. When the waters of the mind are calm, you can see to the bottom. Insight that was always there becomes visible. Problems untangle themselves. You begin to see rather than think, and seeing is faster than thought. This is how deep concentration accelerates intelligence. It allows the subconscious to deliver solutions your conscious mind could never force. The benefits extend far beyond productivity. Concentration stabilizes emotion. When your mind learns to hold focus, it stops being hijacked by anxiety and impulse. You gain what the Stoics called inner command, the ability to act from intention instead of reaction. Spiritually, this is sovereignty over energy. You become the master of your vibration instead of its victim. A practical method, the focus ladder. Start with 10 minutes of uninterrupted focus each morning. Gradually extend to 20, then 40, then 90. During each session, pick one task that matters. A page to write, a problem to solve, a skill to study. Before starting, take one deep breath and say, "For the next X minutes, I give my full presence to this moment." That declaration transforms effort into ritual. You can also train focus through the body. Practice slow, deliberate actions, pouring tea, cleaning, walking, with awareness of every movement. These micro-meditations teach the brain that concentration is not limited to work. It's a way of being. The more moments you inhabit fully, the sharper your perception becomes across all areas of life. Understand this truth. Scattered attention leaks energy, but concentrated attention multiplies it. Every time you hold focus longer than before, your energetic field strengthens. People feel it. They sense your presence the way they sense gravity. Steady, calm, grounded. That's the aura of someone who lives from depth rather than distraction. Eventually, deep concentration becomes joy. What once felt like effort transforms into absorption. You stop needing stimulation because focus itself becomes fulfillment. Your mind becomes your ally instead of your battlefield. From that state, creation flows easily, decisions become effortless, and wisdom emerges naturally. So practice every day. Protect your focus as you would protect oxygen. In a world drowning in noise, stillness is rebellion, and clarity is power. Concentrate deeply on one thing daily. Stretch your capacity to stay. Because when you learn to hold attention, you hold reality itself. Your intelligence rises not from learning more, but from being here fully. Presence is the new genius. Chapter 10. Upgrade your wisdom by applying what you learn. Knowledge is potential energy, dormant, neutral, waiting. Wisdom is that same energy in motion, translated into reality through action. You can read every book, listen to every master, collect every insight. But until you apply it, nothing changes. The bridge between knowing and becoming is doing. That bridge is where transformation lives. The world is full of people who know, but do not live what they know. They speak of discipline but avoid discomfort, quote truths, but act in contradiction to them. Real intelligence doesn't echo information, it embodies it. The ones who rise in life are not the most informed. They are the most integrated. They take a single idea, test it, refine it, live it, and repeat that process until wisdom becomes instinct. Science supports this truth. When you act on what you've learned, you engage the procedural memory system, the brain's mechanism for converting abstract understanding into automatic skill. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways until the lesson becomes part of your wiring. This is neuroplasticity in motion, the biology of evolution responding to intention. Spiritually, it's alchemy, knowledge transmuted into power. To upgrade your wisdom, adopt this mindset. Every insight demands expression. The moment you learn something that resonates, ask immediately, how can I live this today? Maybe it's a principle of patience, gratitude, self-control, or focus. Apply it in one real situation. Speak it, act it, embody it. Even the smallest gesture, pausing before reacting, saving instead of spending, listening instead of interrupting, shifts your frequency from knowing to becoming. Application doesn't need grandeur. It needs consistency. Most people try to change their life by learning something massive once. The wise change their life by applying something small every day. A single act of application repeated 300 times becomes character. The way you practice truth is how you sculpt identity. At the end of each day, reflect. What did I actually use today from what I've learned? If the answer is nothing, the knowledge stayed in your head, not your life. But if you can point to one small behavior shaped by new understanding, you're building wisdom. That's the real curriculum of mastery, the daily translation of insight into action. Spiritually, application creates alignment. Every thought vibrates at a frequency. When your behavior matches your beliefs, those frequencies merge, and coherence appears. Coherence is power. It's why people who live what they teach radiate calm authority. You feel their integrity. Their presence speaks louder than their words because truth has moved from intellect into embodiment. There's a hidden gift in practice, too. Feedback. When you act on a principle, reality responds. You see what works, what doesn't, and why. That feedback loop refines understanding faster than any lecture could. Action is how the universe teaches. Every experiment, even the failed ones, reveals something new about cause and effect, intention, and outcome. To the one who practices, even mistakes become messages. A practical system. Each morning, write down one principle you want to live that day. Not study, not discuss, but live. At night, ask, did I? Over time, you'll build a record of integration, a personal library of lived lessons. This habit doesn't just grow knowledge, it grows trust in yourself. Because each day you act on truth, you prove that you can rely on your own word. That self-trust is the foundation of all confidence. Think of the mind like a garden. Learning plants seeds. Application waters them. Without water, no matter how rare the seed, nothing grows. But when you act, the soil of your mind responds. Roots form, growth stabilizes, and wisdom blooms. The garden doesn't flourish because you collect seeds. It flourishes because you care for them daily. The paradox of wisdom is that you must risk imperfection to achieve it. Waiting until you know enough before acting ensures you never begin. The act itself completes the learning. Life refines understanding through experience. The universe doesn't reward thinkers. It rewards participants. This truth transcends philosophy. Every spiritual path, every scientific discipline, every successful human endeavor rests on it. Action completes knowledge. When a scientist tests a theory, when a monk practices mindfulness, when a leader acts on principle, all are living the same law. The law of embodiment. What you live becomes who you are. To apply what you learn daily is to sculpt destiny one decision at a time. Imagine a year of this discipline. 365 lessons lived, not just learned. You would no longer be collecting truths. You would become truth in motion. People would notice your steadiness, your clarity, your peace, not because you know more, but because you are more. And when you share what you live, wisdom multiplies. Teach not as an expert, but as a participant. Share what you've applied, not what you've memorized. The authenticity of lived truth carries a vibration that words alone cannot imitate. It awakens others to do the same. So from this day forward, commit to action. Learn deeply, yes, but apply immediately. Let every insight reshape behavior. Let every lesson ripple through your choices. Each time you do, you turn thought into matter, idea into impact, and potential into power. Because knowledge changes your mind, but only action changes your world. Chapter 11. Strengthen your self-discipline through consistency. Discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. The art of setting yourself free from the chaos of impulse. Without it, talent fades, knowledge decays, and dreams dissolve into wishful thinking. But when you master discipline, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you no longer surrender to every mood, distraction, or excuse that appears. Discipline is the spine of wisdom. It's the bridge between intention and reality. Consistency is its heartbeat. You can do something once and call it effort, but do it daily, and it becomes identity. The mind transforms not by intensity, but by repetition. Small, deliberate actions repeated long enough to reprogram the nervous system. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain rewiring itself through habit. Spiritually, it's alignment in motion, your energy learning rhythm, your will learning stability. Most people think they need motivation to begin. But motivation is an unreliable guest. It visits when it feels like it. Discipline, on the other hand, is a resident. It stays when motivation leaves. It is the quiet decision to do what you said you would do long after the mood has passed. The disciplined mind doesn't argue with feelings. It acts in spite of them. You must understand this. Discipline is not about force. It's about focus. When you align your daily actions with your higher intention, effort becomes devotion. You no longer drag yourself. You move with purpose. Discipline rooted in love for your future feels different than discipline rooted in fear of failure. One contracts, the other expands. The goal is not to punish yourself into consistency, but to elevate yourself through commitment. To build this kind of discipline, start with one non-negotiable promise to yourself, something small but meaningful. Perhaps waking at the same time every day, exercising, journaling, or reading. Keep that promise no matter what. It's not the act itself that matters most. It's the message you send to your subconscious. When I decide, I follow through. Each fulfilled promise deposits trust into your inner bank. Over time, that trust becomes unshakable confidence. Psychologically, consistency triggers the brain's reward circuitry. Every completed action releases a trace of dopamine, not the hollow pleasure of distraction, but the grounded satisfaction of integrity. This feedback loop rewires your emotional reward system, teaching your brain to associate progress with peace. Soon, what once felt like discipline becomes nature. You crave the structure that once felt restrictive. Spiritually, this is the law of rhythm. The same pattern that governs tides, seasons, and heartbeats. Consistency aligns you with cosmic order. Every sunrise is discipline. Every orbit of the earth is consistency. You are made of the same intelligence that keeps stars in motion. When you act in harmony with that rhythm, life begins to support your momentum instead of resisting it. But discipline is also tested through resistance. There will be days your mind screams for comfort, when excuses dress themselves as logic. I'll start tomorrow. I've done enough today. Those are the sacred thresholds where transformation happens. Every time you override that voice, you burn away weakness and forge willpower. The resistance you feel is not your enemy. It's the weight that builds the muscle. Create rituals that ground your consistency. Begin your morning with stillness, a minute of breathing, an affirmation, or a simple stretch. Close each day by reviewing what you kept or broke. If you failed, don't judge, analyze. Ask, what emotion won over my intention? Awareness without self-punishment is how discipline matures. Remember, consistency is not perfection. Missing one day doesn't destroy progress. Quitting does. When you fall, resume immediately. The mind learns from continuity, not cruelty. Discipline that grows from compassion lasts longer than discipline built on shame. There's a cosmic dimension to this truth. In the energetic field, consistency creates resonance, a stable frequency that attracts matching outcomes. When your actions, thoughts, and emotions vibrate in sync day after day, reality reorganizes to reflect that vibration. That's why disciplined people seem lucky. They're not lucky, they're consistent, and the universe aligns with consistency. Eventually, your discipline becomes identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to stay consistent. You simply are the person who keeps promises. The gap between intention and action closes. The future stops being something you chase and becomes something you embody. Imagine what that version of you looks like. Calm, steady, unwavering. You no longer need external pressure or approval. Your strength comes from within, forged by every small act of follow-through. That is self-mastery. So practice it today. Choose one act and repeat it tomorrow. Then again, the next day. Not for applause, not for perfection, but because you are sculpting yourself into someone reliable, grounded, and powerful. Discipline is not about control. It's about freedom. Freedom from weakness, from indecision, from chaos. When you learn to be consistent, life learns to trust you. And when life trusts you, doors open that once seemed sealed. Chapter 12. Master your emotions by commanding your energy. The greatest strength is not control over others. It is control over yourself. You can learn every skill, build every habit, and read every book. But if you remain a prisoner to your emotions, life will toss you between extremes of motivation and despair, clarity and chaos. True mastery begins when you learn to command your inner energy, when you stop reacting and start responding with awareness. Emotion is energy in motion. Every thought you think and feeling you feel carries vibration. That vibration shapes perception, decision, and reality itself. When you are unaware of your emotional state, it becomes your master. But when you learn to observe emotion, to hold it without letting it hijack your mind, it becomes your servant. This is not suppression, it's direction. Modern neuroscience and ancient wisdom meet here. The limbic system, the emotional brain, evolved to keep you alive, not enlightened. It reacts to threats, memories, and anticipation with primal urgency. But your prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason, can reframe those reactions. Every time you pause before responding, you strengthen that connection. Every time you breathe through anger or anxiety, you reclaim territory from chaos. Spiritually, emotion is a compass. Anger points to boundaries crossed. Fear signals growth beyond comfort. Sadness asks for release. Joy reveals alignment. Instead of judging these emotions as good or bad, learn to read them as energy codes. Each carries information about where your consciousness stands. To master emotion is to decode energy, to ask, what is this feeling trying to show me? Most people try to control emotions by avoidance, numbing, escaping, or pretending they don't care. But what you resist persists. The energy doesn't vanish. It buries itself deeper, shaping subconscious choices. True mastery happens when you face the feeling fully. You feel it, name it, understand it, and then release it through awareness. Awareness transforms energy. Suppression recycles it. Here's a simple practice: the pause and redirect technique. When an emotion surges, don't identify with it. Step back mentally and say, this is anger, this is fear, this is sadness. Naming separates you from the feeling. Then, breathe slowly for 10 seconds. Long inhale, longer exhale. This rhythm activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering the emotional charge. Once calm, ask, what action aligns with the highest version of me right now? Then act on that, not the impulse. Over time, you'll notice something profound. Emotions stop dictating your day. They still visit, but they no longer rule. You feel them without drowning. You ride the wave instead of being dragged under it. That's emotional sovereignty, the point where stillness within becomes stronger than storms outside. Energy follows attention. Wherever your focus goes, your vibration flows. If you continually fixate on problems, you amplify them. If you direct energy toward gratitude, progress, or purpose, your emotional state recalibrates around those frequencies. Emotion is not random. It's feedback. It tells you where your energy has been invested. To command energy, build rituals that regulate your emotional state before it collapses. Morning movement grounds the body. Breathwork clears stagnation. Writing releases mental clutter. Music shifts vibration. Meditation recenters your field. These practices are not luxuries. They are maintenance for your energetic system. The same way exercise strengthens muscles, these strengthen stability. Spiritually, emotion is also creative force. What you feel with conviction begins to manifest. That's why chronic negativity creates repeating cycles. Not because the universe punishes you, but because your emotional broadcast magnetizes matching experiences. The energy you emit is the energy you attract. When you master emotion, you master attraction. Remember, emotional mastery doesn't mean being stoic or numb. It means being awake. You still feel deeply, but wisely. You can cry without collapsing, feel anger without violence, experience excitement without losing clarity. Balance, not denial, is the goal. Every time you hold composure in chaos, you refine your vibration. Every time you choose patience over reaction, you rewrite the pattern of your energy field. That repetition forges emotional intelligence into spiritual strength. Eventually, mastery feels natural. You stop fighting moods and start directing energy like an artist shaping color. You wake up and choose how to vibrate: calm, grounded, alert, open. That choice becomes power. So practice daily. Observe emotion without judgment. Breathe before reacting. Move the energy through awareness, not resistance. Because the one who commands their emotions doesn't need to control the world. Their very presence shifts the energy of any room they enter. That is mastery. Quiet, steady, undeniable. Emotion is energy. Energy is creation. And when you command your inner current, you command your destiny. Chapter 13. Transform your self-image by rewriting your inner story. You will never rise above the story you tell yourself about who you are. No matter how much knowledge you gain, how many goals you chase, or how disciplined you become. If your inner identity still whispers, "I'm not enough," life will echo it back to you in every form. Missed opportunities, self-sabotage, hesitation, doubt. Transformation begins the moment you realize this truth. Your outer world is a mirror, and the reflection you see is the story you've believed the longest. If that story limits you, it must be rewritten, not by force, but by awareness and conscious authorship. The subconscious mind is not logical. It is literal. It doesn't question your beliefs. It enacts them. Tell it, "I'm bad with money," and it ensures you remain so. Tell it, "I always attract chaos," and it will find ways to prove you right. Your subconscious listens 24/7, scripting your reality based on repetition and emotion. Whatever identity you feed it most often, that becomes your energetic signature, your personal frequency. Psychologically, this is self-schema, the mental map that determines how you interpret every experience. Spiritually, it is your vibrational pattern, the energetic lens through which you perceive creation itself. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your self-concept. To rewrite your inner story, you must first expose the old one. Sit in silence and ask, "What do I truly believe about myself?" Listen to the thoughts that surface. Don't judge them. Record them. Statements like, "I'm always behind," "I can't trust people," "I'm not consistent enough." These are not facts. They're inherited programs, downloaded from childhood experiences, culture, or past pain. You've been carrying them like invisible scripts running in the background. Now comes the sacred act of authorship, replacing them with truths that empower you. Write your new story in the present tense, not as hope, but as fact. I am disciplined. I am worthy of abundance. I am calm under pressure. I am trusted, guided, and prepared. Speak it aloud each morning and evening. Why aloud? Because vibration imprints faster than silence. The voice you hear most often becomes the one you believe. At first, this feels fake, not because it's untrue, but because it's unfamiliar. The old story has grooves worn deep in your mind. You're carving new pathways now. Neuroscience calls this synaptic rewiring, the physical resculpting of your brain through repeated thought. Spiritually, it's frequency recalibration, tuning yourself to a higher reality until that reality matches you. Here's the key. You must feel the new identity before you see it. Logic alone won't reprogram the subconscious. Emotion will. As you affirm your new story, close your eyes and embody it. Feel how that version of you walks, speaks, decides, and reacts. Let that energy fill your body until it feels natural. The subconscious speaks the language of feeling, not words, not reason, but vibration. And this is not mere visualization, it's energetic rehearsal. Every time you align thought and feeling, you imprint the quantum field with a new possibility. In time, life reorganizes to match it. This is the science behind manifestation, not magic, but coherence between belief, emotion, and action. But rewriting your story also means acting from it, even before you believe it fully. The old self waits for proof. The new self creates proof through action. Every time you make a decision, the old you would have avoided, sending the message, applying for the opportunity, holding your boundary. You are voting for the new identity. Each vote weakens the old pattern and strengthens the new frequency. It's also crucial to protect your story from external interference. The world will try to remind you who you were, not who you are becoming. People close to you may resist your change, not out of malice, but because your growth challenges their comfort. Do not explain yourself. Just keep embodying your truth. Over time, reality adjusts. Keep a journal, not of events, but of identity. Each night, write one line beginning with, "Today, I acted like the version of me who," fill in the blank, "stayed calm in conflict, followed through, believed in my own timing." This daily reflection anchors the story. The more evidence you collect, the faster belief becomes biology. Understand this deeply. Your self-image is the thermostat of your destiny. Raise it, and your results rise. Lower it, and no effort will sustain success. You'll subconsciously sabotage it to return to what feels familiar. That's why mindset work without identity work fails. The outer cannot exceed the inner. Spiritually, rewriting your inner story is an act of remembrance. Remembering who you were before conditioning, fear, and doubt clouded your light. Beneath every false belief, there is an original essence untouched by time. Confident, wise, capable, infinite. You're not inventing a new self. You're returning to your true one. So begin today. Stop waiting for evidence that you've changed. Start being the change. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you believe in completely. Watch how that faith alters your frequency. Because the story you repeat becomes the life you live. And the moment you choose to tell a greater one, the universe starts writing with you. Chapter 14. Build inner peace by detaching from outcomes. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the absence of attachment. The mind believes it must control everything to be safe. It clings to results, timelines, approval, and certainty. But the tighter you grip, the more you suffer. Life was never designed to be controlled. It was designed to be aligned. When you release the obsession with how things must unfold, you stop fighting the flow of reality. And that's when true power returns. The root of stress is resistance. Resistance to uncertainty, to imperfection, to change. You feel anxious not because you have no control, but because you're trying to control what was never yours to begin with. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means participation without possession. It means giving your best effort while surrendering the outcome to the intelligence that moves all things. Science and spirituality converge here. Quantum physics shows that observation affects outcome, but not through force, through frequency. The moment you detach from fear and expectation, your vibration rises. A coherent, peaceful mind emits a more stable frequency, allowing reality to harmonize around it. This is why clarity often arrives right after you stop overthinking. Peace is not passive, it's magnetic. Emotionally, attachment drains energy. When you obsess over results, you live in constant tension between what is and what should be. That friction fractures presence. Detachment brings you back to now, the only point of power. The present moment is neutral, but the mind projects stories that make it heavy. When you detach, you strip away the story and return to simplicity. I am here. I am doing what I can. The rest will unfold as it should. The irony is that detachment often brings faster results than attachment ever could. When you stop chasing, you stop broadcasting desperation. Desperation is repulsive energy. It pushes away the very things you desire. But calm expectancy, the quiet knowing that what's meant for you will come, is attractive energy. The universe responds not to wanting, but to being. To practice detachment, start small. When you send a message, don't anxiously wait for the reply. When you apply for an opportunity, don't obsess over timing. When you share your work, don't monitor approval. Your job is to show up fully, not to micromanage response. Each time you release control, you reclaim peace. Each time you trust timing, you expand faith. There's a deeper spiritual law at play. Attachment is rooted in fear, and fear collapses flow. When you attach, you declare subconsciously, I don't trust the process. I don't believe I'm safe without control. Detachment, however, is a declaration of faith. Faith not in luck or chance, but in alignment. It says, I've done my part. The universe will handle the rest. That vibration signals confidence, and confidence magnetizes results. Neuroscience supports this energetically. When you release attachment, your nervous system shifts from sympathetic activation, fight or flight, to parasympathetic balance, rest and create. Only in that relaxed state can higher thinking, intuition, and problem-solving activate. That's why your best ideas arrive in the shower, on a walk, or during stillness. Your brain and energy field have finally stopped grasping. Detachment also strengthens resilience. When your peace no longer depends on outcomes, you become unbreakable. Wins don't inflate you. Losses don't define you. You operate from the steady center, grounded, observing, calm. This is how warriors and monks alike maintain balance in chaos. They don't need the world to behave. They master their own inner climate. Here's a practical method. The dual commitment principle. Commit fully to your effort, then commit equally to letting go. Before acting, say, I will give everything within my control. After acting, say, I release everything beyond my control. That simple ritual teaches your mind to separate intention from attachment. Journaling also helps. At the end of the day, write 2 lists. What I did today that was within my power. What I'm releasing because it's not mine to control. Reading that second list aloud each night resets your energy system. It tells your subconscious that your worth is not tied to external results. Over time, detachment becomes serenity. You move through life like water, fluid, adaptive, unstoppable. You still desire, still plan, still strive, but without tension. You become a vessel of flow rather than a dam of fear. And this is where the paradox reveals itself. When you stop grasping, you receive more. When you stop forcing, you attract. When you stop worrying, you see clearly. The universe meets the calm mind with clarity, because clarity and calm share the same frequency. So breathe deeper. Release your grip. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by, but only if you stop chasing shadows. Let this be your mantra. I give my all. I let it go. I remain at peace. Detachment is not losing interest. It's gaining freedom. And in freedom, everything that belongs to you finds its way home. Chapter 15. Elevate your vibration through gratitude and presence. Gratitude is not a reaction to life being perfect. It's a decision to recognize that life already is. It's the shift from something is missing to nothing is missing right now. When you make that shift, your entire energetic frequency rises. You stop living in lack and start vibrating in abundance. And that change in vibration doesn't just feel good. It changes what you attract, how you think, and the opportunities that appear in your path. Every thought emits a frequency. Gratitude emits one of the highest measurable vibrations, aligning you with expansion, harmony, and love. Neuroscience calls it neurochemical coherence. Gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters of happiness and focus. Spiritually, gratitude is the universal tuning fork. It resynchronizes your energy field with the creative intelligence that sustains all life. Most people postpone gratitude. They say, "I'll be thankful when things get better." But gratitude is what makes things better. The moment you appreciate what you already have, your energy shifts from scarcity to sufficiency. Scarcity blocks creation. Sufficiency expands it. You cannot receive more while resenting what you have. Gratitude clears that resistance and opens you to flow. Begin your day with awareness. Before touching your phone or chasing your goals, take 60 seconds to name 3 things you appreciate. It doesn't have to be grand. The warmth of light, the ability to breathe, the lesson from yesterday's mistake. This isn't positive thinking. It's energetic calibration. You are telling your nervous system, I am safe, I have enough, I am connected. From that vibration, clarity and opportunity flow easily. Presence is the twin of gratitude. You cannot be grateful for life if you're not actually in life, if your mind is lost in yesterday or trapped in tomorrow. Gratitude roots you in the now, and the now is where your creative power lives. Every spiritual tradition points to the same truth. The present moment is sacred. When you are fully here, the illusion of separation dissolves. You stop chasing peace because you realize you're sitting in it. Here's a practice called the grounded gratitude technique. Once a day, stop whatever you're doing. Look around slowly. Take 1 deep breath. Feel the texture of the air, the sounds, the stillness between them. Then, say in your mind, in this moment, nothing is missing. Repeat it until your body believes it. This simple act does more for your nervous system than hours of productivity. It slows brainwave frequency, expands perception, and activates what psychologists call the broaden and build effect, a state in which your awareness widens, creativity heightens, and resilience strengthens. Gratitude literally rewires your capacity to notice possibilities you previously overlooked. But there's a deeper layer. Gratitude is not just emotional, it's metaphysical. Every time you thank life for something, you signal to the quantum field that you already possess it. The field responds by amplifying that vibration, bringing you more of what matches your gratitude. This is not superstition, it's resonance. The universe doesn't give you what you demand, it mirrors what you embody. This is why resentment, complaint, and comparison are so destructive. They lower your frequency, collapsing your field around lack. You can't create expansion while broadcasting constriction. The moment you focus on what's missing, you tell life, "I don't have enough," and life says, "As you wish." Gratitude flips that message to, "I am abundant, I am supported, I am fulfilled," and life echoes it back. To elevate your vibration, practice gratitude both for what is visible and what is forming. Be grateful not only for what you've received, but also for what's on its way. The unseen good already moving toward you. That level of trust magnetizes miracles because it demonstrates faith before evidence. The energy of faith is the highest signal you can transmit. Keep a gratitude log, not as a routine, but as a ritual. Each night, write down 3 moments that made you pause, smile, or reflect. Even small things, a stranger's kindness, a song that lifted your mood, the courage to say no. Over time, you'll start noticing how these small moments were never small at all. They were calibration points guiding your frequency upward. Presence and gratitude together form the foundation of peace. When you are truly here, aware and thankful, you vibrate at the same rhythm as the universe, steady, creative, alive. You stop rushing toward life and start dancing with it. This is the paradox. Nothing external changes, yet everything feels different. The same morning light looks more beautiful. The same conversation feels richer. The same challenges feel manageable. Why? Because you've shifted from resistance to resonance. Gratitude is not a ritual of words. It's an orientation of being. It's saying yes to life as it is. And in that yes, energy multiplies. So pause. Breathe. Look around you. Really look. You are surrounded by things you once prayed for, by evidence of growth you once doubted possible. Let that realization sink in until your entire being hums with quiet appreciation. Because gratitude is the doorway. Presence is the key. And together, they unlock a life that vibrates at the frequency of peace. Chapter 16. Become unbreakable by embracing challenge as training. The universe will never stop testing you, not because it's cruel, but because it's committed to your evolution. Every difficulty, every delay, every disappointment is not punishment. It's preparation. Life doesn't break you to hurt you. It breaks you open so you can become someone you couldn't be before. The only way to become unbreakable is to stop fearing challenge and start using it as training. Hardship is not the opposite of growth. It is the instrument of it. Muscles strengthen by resistance. Diamonds form under pressure. Souls evolve through friction. Yet most people spend their lives avoiding difficulty, praying for comfort, and wondering why they never feel powerful. Comfort preserves, challenge transforms. Psychologically, Resilience develops through stress adaptation. When you face adversity consciously, your nervous system learns that struggle does not equal danger. It reorganizes around strength instead of fear. Spiritually, the same law applies. Energy expands when met with resistance. Every trial refines your vibration, polishing away what is weak or false until only truth remains. The mindset shift is simple, but radical. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That single change transforms pain into purpose. You move from victimhood to authorship, from resistance to growth. Every situation becomes data, information about who you are and what still needs development. Here's the deeper secret. Life gives the same lesson in harder forms until you master it. The person who avoids small discomforts eventually meets them as crises. But the one who practices facing difficulty daily, through discipline, honesty, and persistence, meets challenges with calm. To them, struggle is familiar terrain. You can cultivate this strength intentionally. Each day, do one thing that pushes you past comfort. Wake earlier. Take a cold shower. Speak a truth you've been avoiding. Finish the task you want to escape. These small frictions are not punishments. They are rehearsals. Every time you push through, you send your subconscious a message. I can handle life. That message rewires fear into faith. Biologically, this is the hormetic effect, the body's adaptation to small doses of stress. Just as muscles grow through resistance and the immune system strengthens through exposure, the psyche fortifies through challenge. But only if you meet the challenge consciously. React with resentment, and you reinforce fragility. Respond with curiosity, and you cultivate strength. Spiritually, challenges are mirrors, showing where your energy still leaks. Every irritation points to an attachment. Every fear reveals an illusion of control. Every heartbreak dismantles ego. If you meet pain with presence, it becomes purification, a refining fire that burns away what no longer belongs. When you stop avoiding the heat, you become the fire. To anchor this mindset, repeat the resilience reframe whenever life feels hard. This is training. Nothing is happening to me. It's happening for me. Say it until your body believes it, because once you see life as training, no experience is wasted. Everything becomes practice. Every obstacle becomes equipment. Even your emotions become weights to lift. Anger trains self-control. Fear trains courage. Disappointment trains patience. The pain of failure trains humility. The moment you stop labeling these as bad, you start transforming them into fuel. The greatest power emerges from people who have been tested deeply but refused to stay bitter. They learned to metabolize pain into wisdom. They took what was meant to break them and turned it into strength others can feel. That alchemy is what makes leaders magnetic. Their energy carries proof that survival is not only possible, but transformative. When you start viewing challenge as divine curriculum, peace enters. You no longer resist the lesson. You study it. You stop pleading for an easier path and start praying for stronger legs. That shift in prayer changes everything. Because strength doesn't come before struggle, it comes through it. Remember, resilience is not toughness that hardens. It's flexibility that bends. The tree that survives storms is not the one that resists wind. It's the one that sways without snapping. True strength is softness under control. Power guided by presence. So the next time life tightens around you, don't shrink. Straighten your spine, steady your breath, and whisper, "This is training." Because that's exactly what it is. the universe sculpting you into someone capable of carrying more light, more love, more power. In time, you'll notice something extraordinary. You stop fearing hard days. You start welcoming them as reminders that you're still growing. And that's when life stops intimidating you, because you've become what it was trying to teach you all along. Pain becomes purpose. Challenge becomes clarity. And you, unbreakable. Chapter 17. Align your actions with purpose, not pressure. The modern world glorifies pressure. Deadlines, urgency, constant movement. It equates exhaustion with achievement and busyness with importance. But pressure without purpose is chaos, disguised as progress. The truly powerful don't move faster. They move aligned. When every action flows from intention, you accomplish more with less force. When you move from pressure, you burn energy. When you move from purpose, you generate it. Purpose is not a task or title. It's the underlying frequency that makes your actions meaningful. It's the why that turns effort into devotion. Without it, even success feels hollow. With it, even small acts become sacred. Purpose turns routine into ritual, motion into creation. It is not something you find. It is something you remember. Psychologically, living with purpose engages the brain's reward circuitry on a deeper level than external motivation ever can. You no longer chase dopamine from short-term wins. You receive serotonin from coherence, the sense that your actions match your values. Spiritually, purpose is alignment between your soul's blueprint and your daily behavior. When those two frequencies match, peace appears. To align action with purpose, you must first pause. Ask yourself, what am I doing this for? Not the superficial answer, the real one. Are you acting from fear, validation, comparison, or contribution? Every motive carries its own vibration. Fear contracts, purpose expands. If the action drains you, the frequency is wrong. If it energizes you, the frequency is true. Start small. Every morning, choose one intentional action that supports the person you are becoming, not the person you are escaping. It might be learning, creating, helping, or simply resting, when rest is what fuels the next creation. The point is not to do more, it's to do aligned. There's a profound difference between effort and strain. Effort arises from clarity. Strain arises from confusion. When you act from clarity, energy flows. When you act from confusion, energy leaks. Pressure often comes from trying to force outcomes, rather than aligning with timing. The universe doesn't respond to force. It responds to frequency. Here's a guiding practice. The purpose check-in. Before starting a task, ask, does this align with my values? Does this move me closer to who I want to become? Can I do it with calm intensity instead of anxious urgency? If the answer is no, pause. Recalibrate. It's better to realign for 5 minutes than to rush for 5 hours in the wrong direction. Purpose doesn't mean everything feels easy. It means everything feels meaningful. You still face obstacles, but they no longer drain you because you see their role in the larger mission. When you know your why, you can bear almost any how. Spiritually, alignment is flow. It's when your inner rhythm syncs with the rhythm of life. The river doesn't rush, yet it reaches the ocean. It moves with effortless persistence because it follows its natural path. You too have a natural current, a unique path where energy feels smooth, inspired, inevitable. Pressure is what happens when you fight that current. To find alignment, listen to your emotional compass. Excitement signals expansion. Dread signals resistance. Peace, not comfort but peace, is your highest GPS. If something feels forced, it probably is. If it feels like breathing, you're in the right direction. Practically, align your week around energy, not obligation. Schedule creative work when your mind is clear, conversations when your heart is open, rest when your body asks for it. The goal is rhythm, not rigidity. Life moves in cycles. Inhale and exhale, creation and recovery. Purpose honors both. When you start living this way, people will notice something different about you. You'll seem less frantic, yet more effective, less busy, yet more magnetic. That's because purpose radiates calm authority, the kind that doesn't need to prove, chase, or convince. It simply is. Over time, pressure loses its grip. You stop reacting to every external demand and start responding from inner guidance. You no longer live by deadlines alone, but by divine timing. Opportunities that once felt forced now flow naturally because your energy no longer resists itself. And there's a deeper realization that follows. Your purpose is not something you serve. It serves through you. You are the vessel. When you clear noise and act with intention, life expresses its intelligence through your choices. You become a channel for creation, not a prisoner of productivity. So breathe before you act. Feel before you decide. Replace "I have to" with "I choose to." Replace "I must hurry" with "I will align." Because when your actions rise from purpose, not pressure, you no longer chase impact, you become it. The world doesn't need more busy people. It needs more aligned ones. Move slower. Move wiser. Move from meaning. That is how you start walking in power instead of panic. Chapter 18. Become a magnet for opportunity by living in integrity. Opportunity doesn't appear by luck. It recognizes resonance. Every action you take, every promise you keep, every word you speak emits a frequency. When your thoughts, words, and behaviors match, that frequency stabilizes. The world responds to that stability. Integrity is the invisible magnet that draws circumstances, people, and timing into alignment with who you are. The universe doesn't reward cleverness. It rewards coherence. When your internal world is orderly, your external world follows suit. When you say one thing, feel another, and do a third, your energy fractures. Confusion inside creates confusion outside. Integrity, being whole, consistent, truthful, is not just morality, it's magnetism. Psychologically, integrity strengthens self-trust. When you follow through on what you say, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing confidence and reliability. Every kept promise tells your subconscious, "I can depend on myself." And when you trust yourself, others instinctively trust you too. That's how leadership and opportunity begin. From internal consistency, not external persuasion. Spiritually, integrity is alignment between soul and action. It is saying, "I live what I know." When your life mirrors your inner truth, you vibrate cleanly. That clean vibration attracts clean opportunities, partnerships, ideas, and paths that resonate with your authenticity. The opposite is also true. Deception and inconsistency distort your signal, attracting chaos that mirrors the noise inside. To live in integrity, begin with the small things. If you say you'll wake early, do it. If you commit to a project, honor it. If you make a mistake, admit it. Integrity is not perfection. It's honesty in motion. The smallest lie, especially the ones you tell yourself, drains more energy than any hard truth ever could. Each moment you choose truth, you reclaim power. A practical method: the alignment audit. Once a week, reflect on 3 questions. Where did my actions match my values this week? Where did they contradict them? What one behavior can I realign right now? Write the answers. Not to judge yourself, but to recalibrate. Awareness is correction. The more often you check alignment, the less likely you are to drift. Living in integrity also means honoring your energy, not saying yes when your heart says no, not pretending to care when your intuition says, "This isn't for me." Every false agreement fragments your frequency. People-pleasing might win temporary approval, but it erodes long-term peace. You can't attract authentic opportunities while living in inauthentic agreements. Integrity requires boundaries, not walls, but clarity. Boundaries are the architecture of self-respect. They signal to life what you will and won't allow. When you uphold them, you teach others how to treat you. The moment you betray your own boundary, you teach the opposite. Spiritually, boundaries are not resistance. They are resonance control. They protect your vibration so that what you build grows in harmony. Every no that honors your peace amplifies the power of your yes. Integrity is also revealed in how you treat what is unseen. The effort you put in when no one is watching. The respect you show when there's nothing to gain. Those are the frequencies the universe hears loudest. The unseen realm responds to unseen actions. That's why people who quietly do the right thing seem mysteriously favored by life. The field they've built around themselves is clean, and clean fields attract clarity. From a leadership perspective, integrity compounds like interest. Each consistent, honorable decision builds credibility, an energetic currency more valuable than money. Over time, opportunities, allies, and blessings begin orbiting you naturally. You don't need to chase them. You simply become a stable center of gravity. But here's the paradox. Integrity will often test you. You'll be tempted to take shortcuts, to say what's convenient instead of what's right. Those are spiritual exams disguised as decisions. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you level up your frequency. You prove that you are ready for greater responsibility, and life responds accordingly. Remember, integrity is not about being flawless. It's about being whole. Wholeness means your energy moves in one direction, forward, congruent, free of hidden agendas. That kind of coherence is irresistible. It radiates calm certainty, the rare kind of power that doesn't need to shout. So, practice daily alignment. Speak what you mean. Do what you promise. Feel what you say. Be who you claim to be. Let your actions echo your truth loudly enough that your words become secondary. Because opportunity does not chase noise. It seeks signals. And integrity is the clearest signal of all. When your life, your word, and your energy all tell the same story, you don't have to hunt for what's next. What's next finds you. Chapter 20. Epilogue. Return to yourself. Every journey of mastery ends where it began, within. After all the lessons, all the striving, all the breakthroughs, you finally see. There was never anything outside to conquer, only parts of yourself waiting to be remembered. The power you were chasing was never lost. It was just buried beneath noise, fear, and forgetting. You've walked through awareness, discipline, focus, resilience, detachment, and integrity. Not to become someone new, but to remember who you are when you stop betraying yourself. Every principle you've practiced was a doorway back to presence. Every challenge you've faced was a mirror showing you your own strength. This is the quiet revelation. Peace was never at the top of the mountain. It was in the stillness you carried up there. You don't need to fight to stay awakened. You only need to remember, to keep returning to what's real when life tries to pull you away. Growth isn't a straight climb. It's a spiral. You'll revisit old lessons at higher levels of awareness. Each return is proof of progress, not failure. So breathe. Look around. The world hasn't changed. You have. Where you once saw problems, you now see training. Where you once chased validation, you now move from alignment. Where you once drowned in emotion, you now direct energy. That shift, invisible to most, is the foundation of freedom. And freedom is not the end of discipline. It is the fruit of it. When your mind serves your purpose, when your emotions obey your awareness, when your words match your actions, you are free. Not because everything is easy, but because nothing owns you anymore. This final chapter is not closure, it's continuity. There is no finished version of you, only deeper layers of truth unfolding. The path of self-mastery isn't a project, it's a way of living. Each morning you begin again, clearer, calmer, stronger. Keep practicing what you've learned. Focus on one hard thing daily. Read with presence. Reflect with honesty. Act with purpose. Detach from results. Hold integrity like oxygen. Listen more than you speak. Be grateful before proof appears. Welcome challenge as teacher, and above all, stay close to silence. Because silence is where you hear your highest self whisper, "You're already home." This is where the outer path dissolves into the inner one. No more seeking, no more waiting for the next sign. You are it. The living evidence that consciousness can evolve in human form. The world doesn't need louder voices. It needs grounded souls, people who have walked through their shadows, met themselves fully, and returned carrying light. Be that light. Quiet, steady, real. Not to prove, not to preach, but simply to be. Because when you live in alignment, your very presence teaches more than your words ever could. And in that state, life itself becomes your teacher, your mirror, your masterpiece. Return to yourself, again and again. That is the secret all wisdom points to. You have not reached the end. You've reached the beginning. The moment you finally remember who you've been all along.